Squatter epidemics across the nation.
Yes, squatters epidemic. That is how Fox News describes the home invasion situation in the U.S. This is not a one-state problem, but a nationwide issue that several states are addressing more aggressively. As a Latino, as a Hispanic in the U.S., I have to say that it is very unfortunate, nevertheless real, that a lot of these squatters, invaders, are migrants that came in from Latin America.
I was scared, but also angry. They act like I was doing something wrong. There was prostitution, there was drug selling.
A squatter there totally destroyed the place. They sold the appliances from the property.
Average a property like this, especially out in this part of Atlanta, they're just completely destroyed.
They knew the law better than most attorneys do. It took me 36 days to evict them.
The police consider him as a resident. It's just really sad that the homeowners, we don't have any protection.
These are a few of tens of victims of squatters and some of their testimonies that show us how egregious these squatters are. Please stick around because I will tell you which state is now joining the fight against property invasions to a point that who practice this action can end up and should end up in jail.
This morning, growing fears of Venezuelan gang members coming across our southern border as officials confirm this migrant suspect accused of squatting inside of a Bronx home with guns and drugs is tied to the dangerous Tren de Aragua gang.
All of this has arisen, as you could hear, due to the concerns that many of the invaders are arriving from Latin America, most of them attributed to Venezuelans who are possibly linked, allegedly linked, to the criminal organization Tren de Aragua, the Aragua train. This actually was one of the cases that we have reported in the platform, this platform, Rafael Bello TV in Spanish, in New York, in which a group of invaders was removed from a home in the Bronx, but only one of the members had been arrested. And I'm going to share that news that we actually even reported here. Migrant squatter took over a Bronx home alongside a child was living there. And now Fox News is reporting that this man is linked to the Tren de Aragua. But for those of you who don't know what Train of Aragua, the Tren de Aragua means, take a listen and take a look at this short clip so you can have a sense of this criminal and very powerful organization.
Three quick things about the Tren de Aragua. The first, and I've said this many times, but it's merit saying it again, it is the fastest growing transnational criminal organization in the world. Only 7 years ago, they had presence in 2 countries in South America. And within 7 years, they now have a presence in 10 countries throughout the entire Western Hemisphere. And that also includes right here inside multiple cities in the United States. And so I've never seen a transnational criminal organization expand that fast. Not even the Mexican cartels expanded that fast in that short amount of time. The second point is that the specialization of the Tren de Aragua from Venezuela is not drug trafficking, it's not money laundering, it's human smuggling and human trafficking. That's what they're experts at. All the countries that they proliferate inside the Americas, they tap into human trafficking networks and they push migrants across borders. That's what they do. And so that's obviously a particular additional concern. And then the third point is probably the most concerning is we're perhaps dealing with the first state-sponsored transnational criminal organization, because when you go back to the history of how this was formed inside Venezuela, you have to actually go back to at least 2007 when Venezuela did a reform in its legal system and the prison system where they handed the prison to the prisoners. It's called the Pranato system, where they actually put prisoners, gang leaders in charge of the prisons inside of Venezuela. Then to 2011, they created a ministry of prisons where they consolidated this inside a prison in a state called Aragua. That's why it's called the Train from Aragua. It's a state inside Venezuela. And then the third is 2020, when they released these prisoners, 1,373 prisoners in particular from that prison under, get this, a program called A Path for Liberty. And so coincidentally, since 2020, we've seen mass migration start to pivot north from Venezuela into the United States for 2 reasons. Because the Maduro regime built an air bridge through its state airline into Mexico and a land bridge through the Tren de Aragua through the Darien Gap. So that's what to me, the biggest concern of this is we perhaps are dealing with a state-sponsored criminal organization.
Well, in Georgia, they recently evicted a squatter or a group of people who allegedly had invaded a property for months. Here is the report from Fox News. Georgia police remove squatters allegedly occupying homes since Christmas. Yes, I'm talking about a few months since last year. Now, the state of Georgia joined Florida and New York in eliminating squatters' rights, passing legislation that allow their eviction also in a faster manner. And some of them, in this case, are also criminalizing this action, adding a potential prison penalty.
And unfortunately, bad actors have figured out ways to take advantage of this, exploit really the process that goes through the local government. So we're passed legislation that I'm going to sign right after this interview to stiffen the penalties to go after these folks, to also speed up the eviction process, but also allow the property owner to go after these squatters for damages.
Okay,
so we're very excited about today.
So it's a misdemeanor criminal offense, punishable by a year in jail, $1,000 fine. You could have one of those or both. And if you forge a fake lease, you're charged with a felony?
Correct.
What got you to this point?
This is insanity. Well, this is insanity that people just think they can come in and take over somebody's home. I mean, it's just outrageous. It really points to, as we've seen around the country, the lawlessness that's gone on under the Biden administration. And quite honestly, a lot of liberal cities around the country where, locally appointed judiciary is not acting on these things. And so the General Assembly, Representative Devin Seabaugh and Matt Reeves, and a lot of other people, including myself, wanted to tackle this problem and see what else we could do to protect our property owners and really go after these individuals that, are creating just doing these criminal acts.
I know that Ron DeSantis, we've been covering what's happening in Florida, too. He did make it easier in that state to remove squatters. Does yours go a step further with the arrests?
Well, I can't remember exactly what they did in Florida, but I'm sure it's much of the same, just using the legal powers that we have to push up the process. I mean, look, it's insane that this even happens to start with. But then when you can't remove these people from your own property, as a property owner myself, I mean, it goes to the insanity of the world that we're living in now. And I know that Governor DeSantis isn't going to put up with that, and neither are we. And looking forward to signing the legislation today.
And of course, as you can expect, Governor Kemp threw some punches to not only the Biden administration, but also to what he considers liberal cities. But we have to say, let's be fair. It doesn't matter what color you like, red, blue, yellow, purple. Doesn't matter your political views, if you're independent, if you're right or left, or Democratic or Republican. What matters is that in this case, Governor Kemp, Georgia as a state, joined New York, which is a liberal state, according to his description or labeling, but also joined Florida. Now, these three states are fighting squatters, giving back the property owners, their rights, and eliminating squatters' rights, and also stop considering squatters as people that live in a property and that they can just live there as tenants. So to me, that's the most important thing about all this, not the political view, not the political side, but the human side of this story. Of course, I would love you to let me know what you think in the comments. Also, you can text me on WhatsApp. You can be part of this community by subscribing. And that's why I ask you not only to subscribe, but also to like this video. And let's start growing this English-speaking audience. We have another channel you can join if you speak Spanish. Rafael Bello TV is the same one as this. This is Rafael Bello Project. You can follow me as Rafael Bello TV on every platform, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and of course, throughout my YouTube channels. Thank you for joining, and see you in the next video.